back to the Football Terrace. Really appreciate you all tuning in as ever. Man United were embarrassed in the Champions League against Istanbul, and defensive frailties were again exposed and shown to the whole world to see. These frailties have been there for the vast majority of this season. The lack of concentration and the lack of shape in the Man United team, especially when they're playing the perceived lesser teams, when they go up against Istanbul, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Arsenal, the teams who are perceived to be less of a threat than a Paris Saint-Germain or an RB Leipzig or a Chelsea. The concentration levels, the shape and the defensive structure of Manchester United completely and utterly eradicates. We're going to delve into this in a bit more detail. Do us a big favor and hit that like button right now before you go any further. Very, very important to the channel that you get that done. And let's just jump straight into this, eh? Here you can see the positioning. Now, this is 11 minutes in, I will add. 11 minutes in to Manchester United versus Istanbul in the Champions League game. And the first thing I wanted to highlight here is firstly, Man United's four defenders. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side of the box. You have Luke Shaw, Tuanzebe in the central areas, and Maguire deep on the left-hand side. Now, in my opinion, I think Maguire and Tuanzebe should both be in that box. This was from a corner. Manchester United have got to try and work the ball into that area. So I have no issue or concern with where either of these two players are at this stage. What I'm staggered at is that both Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw we're going to highlight here in yellow just so you can differentiate who he is, sitting there. I have no idea why he's not back with Nemanja Matic. At the same time, Matic, as you can see here, I'll highlight him yellow as well now. He is our deepest lying player. Now, this is 11 minutes and 53 seconds into a game. It's 0-0. There is absolutely no need for Manchester United to have 9 players that close to Istanbul's box. And there's no need for all of our players to be this far up the pitch, leaving Demba Ba completely and utterly free to do what it is that he needs to do. When the ball's played forward, you can see the chasm of space that has been left open here by one, Nemanja Matic being so far forward, and neither one of the fullbacks. In my opinion, because this corner was on the right-hand side, it should have been Luke Shaw that was back in a defensive position. Should have been somewhere. He should have been in one of these 3 places, in my opinion, back there defending. And then if we look at Nemanja Matic, he should have been much closer in a position here or position here, close to that of Demba Ba. Then this goal is almost impossible. One, if the ball's knocked long and Demba Ba does beat Nemanja Matic to it, you have Luke Shaw to cover in these positions. But the staggering thing here is you look at how far away Manchester United are and the lack of awareness for anybody, any single Manchester United player, to be within the space that's highlighted on the screen. It's absolutely criminal. But as we said at the top of this video, this is not the first time we've seen this happen. A lack of concentration, a lack of desire, and a lack of defensive shape. This also in the second goal against Istanbul last night. Now, Juan Mata, he's unfortunate to lose the ball the way he does, but there's a lot more to go wrong with this situation from this point. 2 players I really want to highlight here are marked in yellow in the middle of the screen. 2 of the midfield attacking players for Istanbul. Look where they are. You can see Luke Shaw, and I'm going to highlight him. There in yellow in this area. Luke Shaw is, of course, going to make a movement and going to make a run. We're just going to highlight in this area. Now, he should be busting a gut. At this point, when he knows the ball's being lost, he should be busting a gut to get back into a position here to be able to be defensively impactful for his team. The same as the midfield players, if we're being absolutely honest. The midfield players, as soon as this ball's lost, they've got to be busting a gut to get themselves back into these areas. That needs to happen at all times. We saw only recently when Man United played Arsenal and when Man United played Chelsea, the work rate of these teams when they lose possession is exceedingly high. Man United tend to have a propensity to only work that hard defensively when they're playing what they perceive to be the biggest and the best teams. So we'll move this caption along a moment. Now, Juan Mata's lost the ball. There's an attacking situation transpiring here for Istanbul. Now, Maguire's been highlighted in red. He has to go to Demba. Tuanzebe's covered the space. Mata, of course, is recovering at this moment in time. Demba is free in the middle. There's a big space that's been highlighted behind Harry Maguire. Now, he has a very difficult choice here. If Maguire stays in that position to, of course, stop the ball coming to the eventual goal scorer because nobody else is back, Demba would never ever allow the ball to run past him and dummy the ball and go to that player. So right now, the lack of work rate from our fullback and our midfield players has created a situation where Maguire's left in no man's land. He rightfully, in my opinion, goes to Demba. Demba, of course, dummies the ball, and it ends up in the space that's been vacated by Harry Maguire behind. Now, this is a few seconds later, and what stands out massively to me are the two Istanbul players that have been highlighted in yellow. They were the two individuals that were well in their own half at the beginning of this move. How they are in the box, and first of all, Donny van der Beek isn't, who was easily 25 yards closer to the box. I understand that Nemanja Matic is not Usain Bolt, but how are they left him for dead by this much? I think is a disgrace. Why is he not busting the gut at this moment in time to get himself back into the box? And where the hell is our speedster, Luke Shaw? He's nowhere to be seen when this ball is being shot. So not only was there a mistake from Juan Mata, there was a lack of desire from our midfield players and from our fullback to get themselves back into position. There's also an element of kamikaze defending, because if you go back and look at the original piece, we could see that AWB was in an advanced position. I don't think Manchester United have the defensive nous and quality to commit to two fullbacks going forward. Luke Shaw should be back if AWB is going forward, and vice versa. This protects us against these mistakes and a lack of pace at the back. And this has been happening for the entirety of the season. We see here the opening game against Crystal Palace. This is 7 minutes into the start of the campaign. And look, Victor Lindelof's doing an okay job out here wide. You have Maguire and Luke Shaw at this moment in time that are in very good positions. But it's about work rate. Both Maguire and Luke Shaw have to make sure that by the time this ball is crossed by the Crystal Palace player and is going across sort of beyond the place of no return in the middle, that they are in a position to intercept this ball. Yes, reading of the game is important, but this is about desire, work rate, and concentration. Understanding what is about to happen. So we move forward a few moments. And one thing that stands out massively here to me is that neither Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire have even noticed Andros Townsend coming onto the end of this ball. There's no vision. They're not looking. They're not concentrating. They're not awake yet. 6-7 minutes into the beginning of a new campaign. And then just at the last moment, Luke Shaw wakes up and thinks, oh, I'm in trouble here. I'm going to have to put in a slide tackle and put in a little bit of effort. And the effort that Luke Shaw puts in to try and stop this ball from going into the back of the net, in the end, is what we should have seen from the moment this counter-attack was made possible. This goal doesn't go in, and who knows how the result could have been. Goals have been conceded this way by Manchester United on a regular basis so far this season. And of course, some of it is tactical, some of it is positional and based on the formation. But a lot of this is about the individual players' work rate and their want to make sure they're there at all times. What really stands out to me as well is the two Crystal Palace players you see here entering the box as Andros Townsend scores. Lindelof, Fosu Mensah, and Scott McTominay, players that are genuinely kind of lauded as being sort of work rate, having good work rates and being on top of their game, they've been beaten into the box. So if this ball is saved and or parried by David De Gea, hits the post and comes out, Maguire gets a block on and it comes out into the 6-yard box area, who's getting there first? You have to try and win every single first ball. And if you can't win the first ball as a Manchester United player, the second one becomes absolutely imperative. And we have seen this issue week in, week out for the entirety of this season, where we are not winning these first balls, we're not winning the second balls, and we're conceding goals primarily for a lack of awareness and more so a lack of work rate. And this is what makes that moment even more embarrassing, because this was the start of the build-up to that goal. And at this moment in time, Manchester United have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players behind the ball. 9 players behind the ball. But within 7 or 8 seconds from this point, when the ball's in the back of the net, we've only got 2 players, maybe 3 players, sorry, in our own box, barring our goalkeeper. Palace have more players entering into our box and in dangerous positions than we have in defensive ones. How dare we have the arrogance to think that we don't need players back to be able to stop a team like Crystal Palace, a team like Arsenal, a team like Istanbul. So much of this is arrogance, in my opinion, where we're not working hard enough in the big games. And of course you look at the players, you look at the manager massively in this situation as well, but it isn't right. You can't go from this position here. Yes, the Lions could do with being a little bit straighter, but of course you've got pressing that goes on in that situation. But you can't go from a position like this, where we're fairly compact, we're fairly narrow, and 9 outfield players are behind the ball. You can't go from this to conceding a goal with Palace having more players in your box in the space of 8 or 9 seconds. It is criminal. And you are only ever going in one direction in the league table with play like that. Man United have got to shape up. And they've got to shape up pretty damn quickly in these games. Do me a big favour. Leave your comments below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing all of you again very, very soon.